what's up YouTube? It's Bobi, aka Paginator, and I'm here today with my June deck of TBR. Wow, I've almost been doing this for a whole year. I believe in July it will be a full year. Anyway, I created my own deck of TBR inspired by Jessie from Bow Ties and Books. They made an amazing deck of TBR, and while I was waiting for theirs to go on sale, like it was going to be months, I made my own. So, since it's June and I am not going to be teaching for a couple of months, I'll still be in school myself, but I'm not going to be teaching, so that will take away like tons of time, or free up a bunch of time. What am I saying? It's going to free up some time. I'm going to do 7 books rather than my usual 5. So this will be interesting. I think I'm going to do 4 from my deck and 3 from Jessie's. Pretty soon we'll get to the point where we're only pulling from Jessie's deck because I'm about to run out of cards from mine. But let's go ahead and get started with our first pull, and we have read a book with a pun in the title. Okay, so I have Bedazzled by Ryan LaSala. Ryan is super funny. I've been listening to his podcast, Celebrity Book Club, with, oh crap, I'm going to forget the name of the author that he does that with. But anyway, it's 2 authors, and they're reading Tyra Banks' book, Model Land, and just kind of taking us through the book chapter by chapter. And sadly, I'm now caught up on the podcast, so I have to wait till they come back to record new episodes. But anyway, Ryan LaSala is super funny, and this book, I'm expecting funny, like rom-com-y kind of things. Bedazzled is our pun, and it is about 2 boys who met in the sequin aisle of the local craft store, dated for a while, then broke up, and they're now ex-boyfriends. And they're both in this cosplay contest. And Rafi, our main character, has a passion for bedazzling and creating cosplay and really putting a lot of effort into his work. And he's going to enter a massive cosplay competition. And if he wins, he could get sponsorships, leading to art school and earning real respect for his work. And of course, he wants to do his own art in his own way. But he gets forced to work with Luca, his ex-boyfriend. Awkward. So these 2 are going to have to figure out how to work together, respect each other's artistic voices, and not kill each other in the process. This sounds really fun. Now I will say I'm going to try to hit mostly fantasy in this because I am supposed to be reading a lot of fantasy to get ready for my thesis in the fall. So far, we're 0 for 1 on the fantasy thing, but we've got 6 more cards to pull, so let's see what we can do next. Read a feel-good/happy book. So for this one, I'm going to go with A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. This one has been talked about quite a bit on several booktube channels, and highly recommended. It is a middle grade book, and I am going to read a bit of the dust jacket to you. All Betty Witterson wants is an adventure, one that takes her far away from the gloomy island where she's always lived. But instead of an adventure, Betty and her sisters Fliss and Charlie are each given a magical object, a carpet bag, a set of nesting dolls, and a mirror. And these gifts come with their own terrible secret: their family is haunted by a deadly curse. I can see what you might be thinking. This doesn't sound super feels good right now. Hang on. The sisters set out to change their fate, but when a mysterious prisoner claims he can help them, they find themselves in great danger, and in order to break the curse and stay alive, they must unravel a mystery that goes back centuries, one that involves shipwrecks, smugglers, and sorcery of the most perilous kind. So at first glance, this doesn't seem like it's going to be super feels good, but based on what other people, reviewers, etc. have said about this book, I feel like I'm going to feel good at the end of it. So we're going to let that count. All right, pick number 3. Read a funny book or one you think will be funny. Okay, we're going with another middle grade book. This is The Great Brain Robbery. This is the sequel to The Train to Impossible Places. In the first book, we meet Susie Smith, who hops on a train when it goes through her living room, and it goes to impossible places. It is something that she gets heavily involved in this new world, and we have all different kinds of fantastical creatures, and they go to interesting locations, and she makes some friends and makes some enemies, and it's a good adventure. There were some funny moments in the first one, so I'm predicting that the second one will also be funny. All right, let's go for our fourth card. It says, read a nonfiction book. I have one for this. I've got it. I know exactly what I'm going to read. All right, so for this one, I'm going to be reading The Art of Subtext, Beyond Plot by Charles Baxter. This author was recommended to me by a professor in terms of prepping for working on my thesis, and subtext is something that I really want to develop in this project, so this will be a handy resource to read. All right, so we've pulled 4 books. 2 of them are magical or fantastical in some kind of way. We have 3 more opportunities to get some more fantasy books on my TBR. And we're going with Jesse's deck. The first pick is Best Part, a 5-star prediction. Okay, so we're going to go with The Left-Handed Booksellers of London by Garth Nix. This is another one that I've heard a lot about in terms of people really loving the story. It is magical and fantastical, so that helps me as well. In a slightly alternative London in 1983, so we're not going too far back into the past, Susan Arkshaw is looking for her father, a man she has never met. Crime boss Frank Thringley might be able to help her, but Susan doesn't get time to ask Frank any questions before he's turned to dust by the prick of a silver hat pin in the hands of an outrageously attractive Merlin. So in this book, we have 2 types of Merlins, a left-handed bookseller, the fighting one, and okay, hang on. After the outrageously attractive Merlin. Merlin is a young left-handed bookseller, one of the fighting ones. With the right-handed booksellers, the intellectual ones, he belongs to an extended family of magical beings who police the mythic and legendary old world when it intrudes on the modern world, in addition to running several bookshops. Susan's search for her father begins with her mother's possibly misremembered or misspelled surnames, a reading room ticket, and a silver cigarette case engraved with something that might be a coat of arms. Merlin has a quest of his own, to find the old world entity who used ordinary criminals to kill his mother. As he and his sister Vivian tread in the path of a botched or covered up police investigation from years past, they find this quest strangely overlaps with Susan's. Who or what was her father? What? Susan, Merlin, and Vivian must find out as the old world erupts dangerously into the new. Intriguing. All right, we've got 2 more picks, and the next one is going to be Get Global, not set in Europe, the USA, or Canada. Ooh, this reminds me, I just read Darius the Great is Not Okay. I loved it so much, and a lot of it takes place in Iran, which is what made me think of that. Oh, it's so great. This weekend, in fact, the day that this video is going to upload, I will be going to see a play with a friend of mine, and we haven't seen each other in like a year, and I know she's going to want to go book shopping, so I think I'm going to allow myself to buy the sequel to that book, and maybe that's it. That might be difficult, but I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. All right, let's find a global book. We've got another sequel, We Free the Stars by Hafsa Faizal. This is the sequel to We Hunt the Flame, and I'm going to read a little description of the first book because I don't want to spoil things for the second one. So this is what the little blurb on Amazon says about the first one. People lived because she killed, people died because he lived. Zafira is the hunter, disguising herself as a man when she braves the cursed forests of the Ars to feed her people. Nasir is the prince of death, assassinating those foolish enough to defy his autocratic father, the Sultan. If Zafira was exposed as a girl, all of her achievements would be rejected. If Nasir displayed his compassion, his father would punish him the most brutal of ways. Both Zafira and Nasir are legends in the kingdom of Arawiya, but neither wants to be. I remember when I read this book, it was absolutely fascinating and super gripping, and I'm very excited to get to the sequel. It or whatever their country, I don't think is a real place, but it's definitely influenced by Middle Eastern culture, and I feel like this will fit with the prompt quite nicely. All right, we have got quite a good stack going here, and we have one pull left from Jesse's deck. It is What If? A strange, odd, or innovating premise. All right, so I don't know how odd or strange this is, but it seems interesting and very, very, like, I want to read this right now to me. So this is Blaze Wrath Games, Blaze Wrath Games by Amparo Ortiz. And this is a dragon-involved book, which I always appreciate. Lana Torres is our main character, and it says she has always preferred dragons to people. Who wouldn't? I mean, come on. In a few weeks, 16 countries will compete in the Blaze Wrath World Cup, a tournament where dragons and their riders fight for glory in a dangerous relay. Lana longs to represent her native Puerto Rico in their first ever World Cup appearance, and when Puerto Rico's runner, the only player without a dragon steed, is kicked off the team, she's given the chance. But when she discovers that a former Blaze Wrath superstar has teamed up with the Sire, a legendary dragon who's cursed into taking a human form, the safety of the cup is jeopardized. The pair are burning down dragon sanctuaries around the world and refuse to stop unless the cup gets cancelled. All Lana wanted was to represent her country. Now to do that, she'll have to navigate an international conspiracy that's deadlier than her beloved sport. That seems interesting to me. I think it twists the dragon rider kind of situation that we see in like Aragon and stuff, because we have a competitive thing, and it's not just like a competition where people are battling each other. It's a relay, and you get to represent your nation, and I love the Puerto Rican representation. I'm probably not pronouncing my Spanish words very well. I don't care. And I think it's just really, really intriguing. So there we go. I will hold up my entire stack for you if I can. Books are heavy. There we go. There is my June TBR stack. This will be a fun month of reading, and because I know myself, I probably will read more than 7 books, but you never know. Yeah. I do have a camping trip in the month of June and some family time, and my silly family, they expect me to like play with them when I could be reading a book. No, I love playing with my nieces and nephews. It's like my favorite thing ever, but we'll just see where the month takes us. It's Pride Month, and I do have one LGBT title in there officially, and I'll try to work in a couple other ones if I can, and there we go. I'm just going to stop talking now, other than to say, have a wonderful, magical, and bookish day. Happy reading. Adios.